Yes, Djibo. Yeah, come on. Sorry.
Ask all of us here to the Muslims, let's all just recite Al-Fatiha openly. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Thank you very much. We're just asking if there is somebody here from Nakuba. Is anybody here from Nakuba, please? As per protocol and policy, we are asked that whenever we're having a public gathering like this, we should at least remind ourselves of the prevention of COVID-19. Therefore, we're asking all of us in here, thanks to the organizers, they've provided us with face masks. When we're entering here, we indeed wash our hands. Please do wash your hands always when you enter into a place or when you're leaving or even entering your home after your day's work. We're all aware that the inter-district lockdown, so to speak, has been lifted. However, all other restrictions are in place. We're encouraging everyone to continue and put on your masks when you're in a public place, or at least when two people are together, they must put on their masks. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of welcoming the Deputy Minister of Youth, Mr. Hussaini Kalon. Welcome, Mr. At this juncture, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the person who is going to chair this session. He's not a stranger in this field of HIV and AIDS. He's been there for the last 30 years. He's qualified as someone who has worked in what we want to call the technical medical area, and he has worked for the United Nations, UNICEF to be specific, and he also served at UNAIDS a short while. And in most of his time of work, or the period of his work, he worked health-related and particularly so on HIV and AIDS prevention. We ask that we all recognize as our chairperson today, Mr. Edmond McKee.
Thank you. I think I'll also be fast to stand up. Mr. Deputy Minister of Youth, Director General of the National HIV/AIDS Secretariat, Country Director, UNAIDS, colleagues on the high table, representatives of different institutions and organizations, colleagues in the promotion of health of civilian unions. I say that because condoms expand beyond prevention of HIV. And it's very, very crucial that we start to understand that HIV has focused attention on condoms, but it's not the end of it. There are other health interventions that condoms can also protect people against. I feel honored because today is a significant milestone in our drive to address the problem of not only HIV, but can I say teenage pregnancies. These are very significant problems within the country. Sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV, and also family planning. Condoms have been in the world for quite a while now, but I think the advent of HIV has increased the focus on the proper use of condoms. And today, it is good that people at the front line of HIV prevention have drawn others from other sectors to commemorate the International Condom Day. This day is a day that will sensitize the public about condom, improve access to condom, and also ensure that people actually understand and have the skills to use the condom and know the times they will be proper use of condoms. You wonder why now? It has been like this for the past years. The 14th of February is Valentine's Day. Mr. Minister, we are youths, we go haywire. This is why I believe the international community, including the UN, decided to peg the National Condom Day around the Valentine's Day. If you go around the corners, especially the main streets of Freetown, you begin to see our youths busy purchasing gifts, flowers, cards, etc., to at least demonstrate their love for whoever and their friends, their partners. But then, within that market, you will never see a condom. So what we are here today to demonstrate is that condoms are also equally important, and they are even the best gifts than the flowers, than the cards, because I don't have the evidence, but I know that beyond the flowers, beyond the cards, other things happen. And those things need to be safe those activities need to be safe. They need to be protected. And I believe all of us here, we have to go out there and ensure that condom is promoted. Our youth attention are drawn to condoms. It may not necessarily have to be youth, because we are talking about Valentine's Day. It's just a focus that they have taken it as a big and their own day. But even adults need proper use of condoms. As I've said, it prevents sexually transmitted diseases. It also serves as contraceptives. It can also protect against HIV, and it can also help decide on the number of children we can have. So as we gather here today and listen to people with experience, I know we all have experiences in these areas, but we are drawn on a core of people. Some will make policy statements, and others will give you some technical inputs into the work they do around condoms and how they can guide us to promote condoms, to make sure that people actually develop the culture of using condom at the right time, in the right way, so that we can protect our generations. I thank you very much. So I think we need to progress, and as I said, we have two parts of this dialogue forum. We have statements, at least they have to be bothered about policies or issues, and then we have some technical presentations. You have the program, we have made some slight changes on the program, so if you're expecting to be the first person to talk, you might be expected to take another position. So in that day, we are now inviting Madam Yata Musa, the Deputy Program Manager at the Hub 4 here in Sierra Leone, to make a statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Minister, DG, Mr. Commissioner, the CDFUNs and all the institutional heads, and ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, welcome once again. It is an honor to be among those addressing this group of distinguished guests today. Since 1961, CARE Sierra Leone's mission has actually been to come alongside communities to fight the underlying causes of poverty and social injustice. Through our work over the years, CARE has come to recognize that poverty at its roots is caused by unequal power relations and gender equality, which is among the most pervasive of these unequal power relations. Our vision now, therefore, is not just about ending poverty at CARE. It's about working alongside the communities where we work to seek a world in which girls and women are able to live economically and socially fulfilling lives, where they're able to decide if, when, and whom to marry, and are able to fully exercise their rights to sexual reproductive health, which includes HIV and AIDS. HIV and AIDS has plagued the world since 1983, when it was first identified in France. And Sierra Leone recorded its first case in 1987. The government of Sierra Leone has made considerable efforts in curbing the HIV epidemic since that time, through establishment of various programs and policies, some of them which are being implemented alongside with CARE. And one of the programs with which we work alongside with the government of Sierra Leone through NAS is called the HIV Prevention Program. And CARE has contributed nationally to curb the HIV/AIDS pandemic through the government of Sierra Leone and the German government through KfW. The program, that is a HAP program, is mainly focused on preventing the spread of HIV and AIDS among the young people between ages 15 and 24. Since education is key, it is one of the main components of the program to continuously increase knowledge about HIV and AIDS and address other sexual reproductive health and rights issues that affect women, girls, and boys. In line with the theme for this year's celebration, the program, in collaboration with the Sierra Leone Social Marketing and Development Agency, commonly known as SLADA, promotes correct and consistent use of condoms and behavioral change. The project so far has provided over 16 million pieces of condoms for social marketing in Sierra Leone. The use of condoms by individuals is the safest way to prevent the spread of STIs, among which HIV is part of. This helps adolescents and young people to remain sexy and sexually active while exciting themselves and their partners in a very protective way. As we all know, prevention is better than cure. And wearing condoms and face masks is the most secure weapons we currently have right now to prevent the transmission of HIV and also curb the spread of COVID-19 infection. Therefore, we encourage everybody here and the general populace to comply with all COVID-19 protocols, to always wear a mask while in public, and also to wear condoms, always when involved in any sexual activity. Remember, safer is sexy. And this is I bring greetings from the Country Director of CARE, who is unable to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that statement. I think Kia is now known in promoting social marketing of condoms. I was very much impressed that she has taken the issue of COVID pandemic, because it appears COVID is now at the fore pandemics, but let us not forget that we are not fighting the war, the good war. There's HIV, and we don't have to forget it. We have to combine our fight against COVID together in the fight against HIV. I will take opportunities in the global context, whether we are doing HIV work or doing COVID work, to be able to combine the two and promote the safety of our people. Thank you very much, Mary. The next speaker, usual friend, and he has always been available to be with us, especially when it bothers around HIV and the welfare of especially youth and children. And I'll call on Mr. Isaac Ayimensa to join this particular meeting.
Good morning, colleagues. Hello. Hello. Good morning. I'm moving away from them because I want to be very far, and if I have to take off my mask, then I can do that and not spread whatever I have to. Permit me to stand on the same protocol by welcoming and thanking our Deputy Minister for joining us today, the Director General of NAS, Honorable Chairman, the CARE International Representative, our colleagues from the media, HIV partners here present. It is indeed a great pleasure that I'm here today for us to talk about condoms. As you can see, I don't have a speech, but I would want to challenge all of us today on a number of issues. Currently, we know that HIV prevalence among the general population is about 1.7%. But if you compare that to the So we can say, oh, our epidemic is generalized, right? So if you look at a place like South Africa or Zimbabwe or Zambia, which has a prevalence of more than 12%, and you think about the number of people with HIV being more than 1 million, you would think that, oh, then they have the case, we don't have. But the reality is that HIV is here with us. As we speak today, like I said, our prevalence is about 1.7%. But if you compare men and women, you're looking at, for young girls who are aged between 15 to 24 years, Honorable Minister, the young girls in that age group are 3 times more likely to get HIV than boys in the same group. So if the DHIS 2019 is telling us that if you look at the prevalence, it's about 1.5% among the girls aged between 15 to 24 years, compared to boys in the same age group. If you are looking at adults, then you realize that it's 2 to 1. So you realize, in terms of more women getting infected compared to women, more women getting infected compared to men. And that is a problem, because that draws attention to where our infection is coming from. Generally, in West Africa or Africa in general, we know men are promiscuous. And me, I'm talking as a man, so don't look at me in some way and say I'm saying some wrong things. We know men are promiscuous for whatever reason. The challenge we've had is that we are not protecting ourselves enough in order to protect our spouses or partners. If you look at the people we call key populations, so you have the sex workers. I don't use the word commercial sex workers because there is nothing commercial about it. But among our sex workers, we do know that prevalence is about 6.7%. Among men who have sex with men, we know that prevalence is about 14%. Among transgender men, we know that prevalence is about 15%. People in prison, we know we have about 8% of people living in prison with HIV. And then also for people who inject drugs, we know that prevalence is about 8.4. So HIV, like I said, is here with us. Fortunately for us, there has been a lot of new development globally. And if you think about it now, we have so many tools to help us protect ourselves from HIV infection. There has been the vaginal ring, which has just come out, so you infect the ring, and if you have sex, then you are protected from getting infection. We have HIV medications that are currently available. If you take it for 1 month, you can have sex, and even if the person is infected, you cannot transmit the virus to you. We have medications, injections that you can take for 1 month, and you will be without, you are protected from infections. Even the regular HIV medication for people living with HIV, the ARVs as we call them, if you have somebody who takes his medication consistently, he gets to a stage where he cannot transmit it, even though he has the virus. But we say he's untransmittable because his viral load is so low. So technology has helped us to move. But in all this, the only technology that has been constant with HIV prevention is our condoms. It is cheap, it's available, there are no complications, and yet people are not using it. If you look at the sex workers, we have 240,000 sex workers in this country. I'm saying the prevalence among these people is about 6.7%. Guess how many of them are using condoms? Only 14%. So it tells you that in spite of having the condoms that are available, people are still not using it. It's just like our COVID. We have all the vaccines coming up, and you would know that His Excellency the President is trying to get vaccines into the country. In Europe and everywhere, everybody is talking about vaccines. But the only constant that is true, if we all just wear our masks consistently and correctly, COVID will go away by itself. The same thing with HIV. If we all wear our condoms, I remember in the years back, in the early 90s, you had our late President Rawlings and his wife launching a campaign and saying, if it's not on, it's not in. This is the president saying it, if it's not on, it's not in. That did not change people very much. And all I'm saying today, 26 years down the line, is that if we can all wear condoms consistently and correctly, we can prevent HIV. Because our epidemic in this region is largely driven by sex. So promoting safer sex is not an option for us. Let me use this opportunity to also talk about my own experience. In 1996, I had to do my dissertation. And can you imagine those days? I did my dissertation was on the use of condom in the prevention of HIV, and I did a PhD study on that. I'm saying 1996. The findings that I had then and now is still the same. So you wonder and you ask yourself, why are we having the same problems? For instance, one of the things I found out was that when young people are going to buy condoms in a pharmacy or drugstore, they have to look, go back, be sure there is nobody there. They run in and buy and run out. But even in that case, they always have a name, which most often the pharmacist knows. So they go and they say they want CD. And the pharmacist knows. They go and they say they want they mention some toffee name. The pharmacists know, and they give them the condom. But to see a young person going to buy a condom with somebody standing there, it didn't happen. And it's all because of the way we stigmatize sex. And we say, look, you are too young to have sex. And today, with all the social media we have, I think we will be deceiving ourselves thinking that kids are not having sex. So if they are having sex, and I had a very difficult discussion with my kids this Christmas, and I'm telling them, okay, you can wait, you should wait till 22. But even that, if no matter what happens, use condoms. It may sound crazy that I'm telling my 14-year-old girl this, but you need to have that conversation. And condoms is the only thing that you can use to protect yourself from HIV, but also protect yourself from unwanted pregnancy. And it gives you the peace of mind that you know you can sleep after one bad act. There are other things. We realize that condoms are not available in most places where they need it. Okay? So you go to the hotel, when people want to have sex, that point, there is no condom. When the place people meet to have fun, the hotspots, the bars, the drinking bars, there are no condoms in those places. Rather, you find condoms in the hospital. Who goes to hospital and say, I want condoms? It doesn't happen. But those are the places where we keep our condoms. And so, access to condoms is difficult not because the condoms are not available, but it's because of where the condoms are. We have issues also about the distributors. We realize that if a young person wants condom, he wants to go to a young person to get his condom. If a sex worker wants condom, he wants to go to a sex worker to get condom. So the people who are distributing the condom becomes important. The cost, we realized that at the time, condom was too expensive for people to buy. Nowadays we have the Ministry of Health condom, so it's a bit easy. But at the time it was a bit difficult. We also realized that there are some special people who want special condoms. You know, I'm one of the people who says every condom is condom, and still Madam Bianca challenges me every day that there are big condoms, there are small condoms, there are flavored condoms, there are unflavored condoms, there are spotted condoms, there are unspotted condoms. Thank God we have all the variety of condoms that you want. There are some people who would never use the Ministry of Health condoms because they think it's low class. But there are also some people who would only use that one. And that is the reason why you have organizations like Flygirl, like I don't know what they call these organizations. The people who promote Fiesta condom and Protector condom. So they brought in this socially marketed condom to meet different class of people and their needs. Another story, I was interacting with an MSM, not in this country, but in a different country. And we are talking about condom, and I made the same argument, every condom is the same. He told me, Isaac, have you had sex in your anus before? I said, okay, no. If you have tried, you know that this condom doesn't work. So having condom, that meets the need of different people. Our MSN group, even here, has told us they want flavored condom. And in addition to the condom, they want lubricant. So we need to think about how we do all this. Let me, because I think my time is up. One of the things that I still think we haven't been able to do very well in terms of our condom promotion is that we encourage people to start condom use. Some of them, they begin to use it and use it correctly. But they get into a relationship, and they begin to say, okay, this is Isaac, my girlfriend is Fatimata. We've had sex 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then after 1 month, we just assume that we know each other. So we can put away the condom. Forgetting that if this person is HIV infected, you have been protecting yourself until the day you say you are no longer using it. So those are things that we still need to address. And on this International Day for Condom, I would want to encourage all of us to think about this. Supposing there is somebody who is HIV infected, would you want to have sex with the person? I know your answer will be no, right? But supposing you get to know that the person is HIV infected after you've had sex with the person, but you use condom, would you not feel more relaxed? Think about having sex and the person comes back and says, I'm pregnant. You have Valentine's Day celebration on Sunday, and then 9 months the line, you have an unwanted baby. Is that what you want? So I would encourage the media, I will encourage all of us that as we celebrate the Valentine's Day, let's remember that we owe it to ourselves and our future to protect ourselves, not just from HIV, but also from other STIs and unwanted pregnancy. And let's remember, the only protection that we have that is readily available to us are condoms. And on that note, I thank all of you.
Thank you very much. I think it cannot be better said than this. And I think Isaac has actually put all the issues on the floor, giving you the statistics of it, but also taking us through the opportunities and the hope for the future. So it's now our duty not only to use condoms, but also get out there and get people to like it, to know it, to use it, and to use it correctly and consistently. Thank you very much. I think we're coming to the near the climax of our statements, and I now have the pleasure to invite our Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs, Honorable Hussein Minister.
Chairman, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol and say good morning to you all. We are here today because as a government, His Excellency the President Julius Malema Bio strongly believe in human capital development. And under the human capital development, we have three flagship priority areas. One has to do with education, that is the head, and the second one has to do with the health, and the last one has to do with agriculture, and that is food. So basically, we are here to discuss the two flagship priority areas that has to do with education and also the health. But taking into account the youth, we serve as the major pillar, and we are of a greater percentage to the population of this country, and therefore, developing the health and campaigning for good health status of the youth of this country also matters. We are here basically today to talk about the three principles. I call it three principles because if you look at the campaign on the use of condom, it's centered around three principles. And if you look at the campaign also of our government, it's centered around the three principles. And what are these three principles we are talking about here? One has to do with the ABC principle, that is avoid body contact and use condom. And the other one has to do with also abstain sex, faithfulness, and use condom. So basically, I will plead to all of us here today. I believe that the 100% safety measures that we have to use is abstinence. If you abstain from sex and you are faithful with your partner, there is no need for you to use condom. But not regarding that also, I see there is a little bit of irony and a little bit of catch here also. I don't know whether it was by mere coincidence or whatsoever, but as a youth also, I have to say it out. Looking at the date that we are celebrating the condom day, and looking at also a Valentine's Day, I don't know whether we are campaigning for sex or I don't know whether we are preaching to prevent sexual transmitted disease. Looking at presently the society that we are into, if you look, I'm really when I'm going to work, I see a lot of petty traders around the gas school and also the other school on my left doing business. They are selling this Valentine card to our children. I see also as it is all. It's like we are motivating them because there is no proper message or message around even the Valentine's Day. And then also, we are also coming up with a condom day also on this particular day also. It's like we are legalizing indirectly. Let's speak the fact. Because if we don't start to speak the fact also for those who are developing this policy to see reason that they have to change some of this policy to fit our tradition, then we are also missing the direction. Because if we are celebrating International Valentine's Day on the same day, we are also campaigning and we are not taking into account the age bracket limit. Because as far as we're concerned, it's really a youthful age start from 18 and above. But yet still, we still go into those secondary schools and preach and campaign for the use of condom to a child that is living below 15 or 14 years. Indirectly also, we are motivating the teacher to have sexual intercourse with that particular girl child. Because if the girl, for instance, the teacher will be campaigning for safer sex, then say, I quote, allow me to quote in Creole, I get condom. Then they have to exchange some words among themselves. So indirectly also, we are also campaigning for earlier sex or earlier pregnancy in the society. What I want to appeal to this August body to do is to see reason how we can also draw our regulation in passing this message to children, and how also as this body we can also develop our campaign messages. Because far too long the messenger that carry the message also differ. It carries different message and portrays different image in the society. And if we don't try to contain that, then the earlier pregnancy will really take a height that all of us will not be really happy about. But the most important thing for this year celebration that I'm really happy and motivated is wear mask, wear condom. Because at least presently, we have two viruses that are affecting the population of this country. And if we use masks, we'll prevent the spread of this particular virus, which is called coronavirus. And also, if we use condom, we'll also prevent the high rate of spreading the sexual transmitted disease, including HIV. But as a government and as a deputy minister, I want to appeal to this august body here present to see reason on how are we going to carry the message outside in our various communities, because it matters a lot. It's not about coming to sit here and deliberate on issues and some of the preventive steps or methods that we are supposed to use. It's about how are we going to carry the message outside. It's what really matters. And on that note, I would like to stop here and appeal to all of us. Let us be conscious and be mindful in the way we want to promote our campaign on condom uses to our children and to the community as a whole. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I think this was well said. We take note of your concern about the timing. I think we believe that, as you rightly said, it has policy implications, and probably might encourage the ministry to create a forum, bring partners together, and then engage some discussion and see which way will be best for Sierra. I will also encourage you to also be considering condom and condom use in the revision of your youth policy, so that at least those issues that you are bringing can also have policy dimensions, and then we will go further with that. I will also encourage you to also engage your colleagues in the Ministry of Education and those in the higher and tertiary education to also begin to think through how we can appropriately promote condoms, because we also have age-specific messaging for especially children, adolescents, youth, and adults. So these are all things we encourage the ministries to come together and do. We are also encouraged about the 3 flagship programs. So they have all the 3 flagship programs have implications on HIV prevention. Education, in fact, has been called an HIV vaccine, because we know from statistics that those that have some high level of education have a bit of knowledge and probably they have at least they can take a decision. Health is actually an HIV, it's also a health issue. And agriculture, especially for those that are on ARVs and drugs, they need appropriate food and support to be able to survive. So we are all doing the same land, but we also need to come together and ensure that those areas also take HIV as HIV prevention and condom prevention as a way of protecting their own health. Thank you very much. Now we are at the climax of these statements, and I have the honor to invite the Director General of the National AIDS Secretariat, Mr. Abramas, to give a keynote statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Honorable Deputy Minister, UNAIDS Country Director, partners in HIV and AIDS work in Sierra Leone, people living with HIV and AIDS, I salute you all. Good morning. I bring you greetings from the National HIV and AIDS Secretariat and express our profound gratitude for partnering with us to commemorate or to celebrate this day, which falls on the 14th of February. Mr. Chairman, February 14th of every year is known as St. Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Day all across the globe. And this day specifically is an international day which is celebrated worldwide. And we are all aware that Valentine's Day is synonymous to love. We have all realized that Valentine's Day in Sierra Leone is the day for love, and many sexual activities happen. HIV and AIDS is a disease that is so unique that can be integrated into all aspects of life. We heard the Honorable Deputy Minister talking about women or traders vending gifts, flowers, etc. And we all here know that on Valentine's Day, a lot of sexual activity happens. So we in the HIV/AIDS programs, we have taken advantage of that day to ensure that we provide information, because we cannot stop it, so that our populace, we know the government of Sierra Leone has 3 flagship programs, which the Honorable Deputy Minister has already mentioned: education, health, and food security. So for the HIV sector, we are coming in to contribute to almost all those 3 flagship programs of the government. We are coming in to provide education as a gateway or as a conduit to ensure that the second pillar, which is health, is also achieved. And once you are healthy, then definitely productivity will also increase to ensure that the country actually develops. But for the past 1 year, we have been toiling with the COVID-19 epidemic. And we strongly believe that COVID is having a toll on our health sector. And we believe that since we are also partnering in trying to ensure that we provide or we contribute to a healthy population of this country, we believe that we can also contribute. That is why for this year's celebration, we have integrated COVID to come up with a theme, and the theme is wear mask, wear condom, safer is sexy. So this is the theme for this year's promotion. And we also know that the HIV prevalence has increased from 1.5% to 1.7%. And if you look at sex or gender disaggregation of the prevalence rate, it is higher among the female sex. And we also believe that most of our transmission is through the conduit of sex. So we believe that we need to provide appropriate information so that we are able to beat both epidemic, the HIV epidemic, as well as the COVID-19 epidemic. Because if we don't address it, our lifestyles, the development of this country will be very, very challenging. We are meeting to raise awareness on the use of both condom and the use of face mask. We are aware that condom use is on the decline. Because condom use is on the decline, one can argue that the increase in the prevalence rate is as a result of the low condom use among our sexually active population, and we need to change this dynamic by partnering with all institutions to help us to address HIV and AIDS issues in the country. Now, the global world, the entire world, is talking about ending AIDS. You look at the SDGs, one critical pillar there is to end AIDS. And all countries have signed up to realizing that target. Sierra Leone missed out on the 1990 targets. What we mean by the 1990 targets is for all countries to ensure that by 2020, 90% of the population know their HIV status. And of the 90% that know their HIV status, they should be on treatment. And of those that are on treatment, 90% should have viral suppression, which our UNAIDS country director mentioned, that once you have viral suppression, you are unable to transmit the disease. We've missed out on the 1990. Now, 2030 is just by the corner. And the target set is 95. And for all those pre-targets, for the testing, we are way down there. We need to almost triple our efforts if we are to meet the 95 targets. So we have developed a new national strategic plan, which came into effect on the 1st of January this year. And the strategic plan, the targets are very, very ambitious. We need to achieve the 95. We have also come up or developed, through the support of our UN partners, the National Strategic Plan on Elimination of Mother-to-Child Transmission. For that particular strategy and operational plan, it's setting a target of 95. So you see that we really need to redouble our efforts. And say if we are running at 10 miles per hour, we need to now go 80 miles per hour. We are borrowing this target, sort of, from the commitment of His Excellency, the President. When the government took over, everybody knew where Sierra Leone was. And he keeps saying, it's no excuse. The bar is so high there. So all programs will actually move. And this 2 years, or the first term of this government, is the year of delivering services. So we want to ensure that the HIV doesn't lag behind. So I really want to appeal to all our partners in the HIV and AIDS work to partner with us to see how we can beat the virus of HIV and the virus of COVID-19. I don't want to bore you with figures. We have a lot of figures. But if we keep presenting figures, then everybody will get confused. For me, the most important thing is Valentine's Day is around the corner. We have those people around. And we need to raise awareness on the use of condoms. We have enough condoms in the country. We have two mechanisms of ensuring that condoms reach out. There is a free distribution through the channel of the government. There is also socially marketed condoms through SLADA and through DKT. We want to ensure that we don't leave anybody out. And though we are talking about International Condom Day celebration today, our focus on the HIV and AIDS work is to give you one message. And I want to use this forum to inform you that the National AIDS Secretariat and partners, we have commissioned a study, integrated biological and behavioral surveillance study and population size estimation. Our institution is going to be the first institution to actually estimate people with disability in this country. I will tell you the HIV prevalence among those groups so that we also begin to do programming for them. So please join hands with us so that we commemorate this day and we raise awareness for people to knock on all doors to ask for condoms and let us educate our youths. They are the future leaders of this country. And no country will want to have their future leaders sick. And on that note, I want to thank AHF, this Healthcare Foundation, and all our partners, and in particular, I am mentioning AHF because of their contribution to the national response, especially with the introduction of the law condom into the system, as well as the other branch, which will be seen around. And I must say also that we have our national institution, SLADA, which is our national organization. They have gone into social budgeting. We need to support them to ensure that we make condom available everywhere so that people actually use condom. But this day actually is for us to read a dialogue. For us to read a dialogue and see how all of us can strategize in ensuring that we keep our population safe. For those who want to have intercourse, to ensure that there is a protective gear there that can prevent them from getting pregnant, from acquiring STIs, including HIV and AIDS. And this education is very, very critical because we all know what is happening now with teenage pregnancy, which is also the flagship program for Her Excellency the First Lady. So I want to thank you all for coming and say that the doors of the National AIDS Secretariat is open. And I want to kindly appeal to the Honorable Deputy Minister of Youth. Your ministry is very key in our work. And we appreciate your coming. This is not vote of rights. We appreciate your coming. And I I want to say also that we shall be knocking on your doors always, so that with our HIV program in the ministry and the city, they are playing the party. And who knows, maybe after today, you are going to be one of our ambassadors in reaching out to our youth. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. General. I think you've cataloged a lot of the good things that you've done, and also brought out some of the critical challenges which you encourage all of us to put hands together to improve those challenges. We thank you very much. I think the point is available for all to see. We are now moving to the next stage. I pity all of you when we are just sitting. It's a dialogue, and it appears that we are just listening, and listening. Some of us must have been wondering, what are we here? You've had the statements, you've had the policy positions, you've had what other people are doing. Now we are going to the next phase, where you listen to two technical presentations, and then you now have the opportunity to be engaged, make comments, make statements, make contributions, and then be satisfied that indeed we had a policy, we had a condom dialogue on this International Condoms Day. So I think the organizers will now come and guide us as to how we are going to listen to these presentations. That's why I wanted. That's why I said.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We ask that the high table issue of 5 seats down at the auditorium, so we will drop the projector and the screen of the projection. Thank you very much. So I have the first presenter, please. In the meantime, we'd like to say after the president, we're having about 3 or 4 presentations. Then we'll now open the dialogue questions. Oh, so I've just been corrected. There are only 2 presentations. Then we'll open the floor for the dialogue. We want clarifications, we ask. And I would also like to say, we are live on air on SLBC, AYV and Star Televisions, and we also are being streamed live thanks to the Strategic Communications Unit at the Ministry of Information. AYV, SLBC, and Star. And 19.1 also are having us live. Thank you very much, guys. And if you're at home, we'll give you a number that you will call if you want to make your contribution. Thank you very much. Sorry, there is a remote somewhere. They must have shown somebody to handle it. Okay. Let's reject a while.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to everyone, our chairperson, Honorable Deputy Minister, and other dignitaries. I want to go directly to our presentation from the Sierra Leone Social Marketing and Development Agency, SLADA. I want to know who is SLADA. Our presentation for this morning, we have about 3 bullet points that we'll be looking at 6 thematic areas: background information of SLADA, our vision and mission, basic facts about condom use, social marketing of condoms, sustainability of SLADA, and how our agencies can be supported, and how other agencies can support SLADA as a local entity. The Sierra Leone Social Marketing and Development Agency was established in 2012 as part of the implementation of KIA International Sierra Leone Sustainability Plan to take over the condom social marketing and behavior change communication components of KIA Sierra Leone HIV and AIDS prevention program. As some of you might have aware, KIA International has been implementing our HIV and AIDS prevention program for years. Then they had the urge with support from National AIDS Secretariat and our core donor KMW to establish a local entity that will take over the social marketing aspects of the HIV and AIDS prevention. As such, that was established in 2012 and in 2013 we took over properly. What is our mission? The mission of SLADA is to evidently improve the quality of life of the poor and vulnerable people in Sierra Leone and increase their access to health products and services, primarily through advocacy, social marketing of health commodities and services, and multi-level health communication. Our vision, at the end of the day, what do we want to see? A society where everyone has full access to and benefits from social and economic resources. Condom use, some basic facts. We are here to discuss condom. Condom use. Now, we have some empirical information here that will guide us in this particular presentation. Now, there was a study done by Restless Developments, citing knowledge of HIV and AIDS transmission and STIs that was done in 2012. From this study, we are told that among women who had multiple sexual partners in 1 year preceding the survey, 12 months preceding the survey, only 3 used a condom during their last sexual intercourse. What does that mean? It means as at that time they were doing this survey, women who had multiple sexual partners, more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, among them that were assessed, only 3% of them confirmed that they used condom during their last sexual intercourse. Their last sexual intercourse might be a day, a month, as at that time. Going down similarly, 7% of women who had sexual intercourse with a person who was neither their husband nor lived with them used condom during their last sexual intercourse. There are lots of cohabiting in Sierra Leone. Yeah? There are lots of cohabiting in Sierra Leone. So another set of women who who are not cohabiting and not having a marriage partner, they have, they confirm, 7% of them confirm that they had sexual intercourse with these people without condom. Sorry, with condom. So you have 3% and 7% that's confirmed, like only 10% that's confirmed, the rest less of it that's confirmed with all their sexual activities, their last sexual activities, only 10% of them in summary use condom during those sexual activities. What about the 90%? They didn't. Only 10%, 3 plus 7 confirmed the use. What about the remaining 90%? Now we want to go to the men. Men aged 15 to 49 years reported having had 2 or more sexual partners. This now is a survey from our recent ages done in 2019. Men aged 15 to 49 reported having had 2 or more sexual partners during the 12 months prior to the survey. After that time, the 12 months prior to the survey, while 39% of men aged 15 to 59 reported that they had sexual intercourse with a person who was neither their wife nor lived with them. Somebody was explaining here that you can be, some people are almost taking a risk that because I've already been cohabiting or relating with somebody for over a month, I'm sure he or she is free. We can go along now free flow. Probably they might fall among these men. Among men aged 15 to 59 years who had 2 or more sexual partners in the 12 months, these men are above there prior to the survey. Only 13% reported using a condom during their last sexual intercourse. And then the men that we are surveying up there, only 13%. You see, these are men that have 2 or more sexual partners. 2 or more. It's not just their wives, but they have 2 or more sexual partners. Only 13%. Remember, for the women it was 3%. Now for the men it's 13%. Going down, 39% of men aged 15 to 59 who had sexual intercourse with a person who was neither their wife nor lived with them used a condom during their last sexual intercourse. 39% versus back there it's 17% for women. For men here is 39, back there is 13%, sorry. Up there is 3% for women, and here is 13%. You can see the level of number of women using condom is low compared to that of men. From this data, we can see that there are lots of sexual activities going on that we are going on. I'm sure we have been any survey within the last 2 years again, 2020 to date. The figures we might be having will not be quite different from this one. A low condom use. From this data that I presented, you will know that there is still a low condom use. Even here, you don't need to train yourself. I wonder how many people here that will confirm that they use condom with partner who is neither their wife or husband or with a partner they are cohabiting with during their last sexual intercourse. Check your mind. Did you use condom with your girlfriends or somebody you are cohabiting with? Did you use condom? You don't need to beat your hands up. Within yourself, check yourself. Now, according to the 2019 DHS, 74% of women and 85% of men aged again 15 to 49 know that consistent use of condom is a means of preventing the spread of HIV. That's what we got from DHS again. Of course, there are other factors to tell that people are already aware that use of condom will help you to mitigate unwanted pregnancy, teenage pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. What does it mean? It means the knowledge is there, awareness is there, but people, with all this awareness, with all this information, with all this knowledge, are people still using condoms consistently and properly? Why? Why? With all the information we have related to COVID-19, are we all still respecting trial measures given? Why? Now condom. We got that people are aware, but there is still no use of condom. Why? Cultural beliefs. Some people will say it's a taboo. You should not use condom. It's against my religion. I'm a Christian. I'm imam. I mean, you've been told that, and you've been told to multiply. You need to multiply and replenish the heart. That it is around what God has given to you, just give back. Myth versus dissemination of information. If I use condom, I will get cervical cancer. If I use condom, it will stick within. If I use condom, I will get further infection. Blah blah blah. Myth versus dissemination of information. Correct information. Because people are having this myth, but are they having the correct information to mitigate these myths? Availability and affordability. Availability and affordability. Freetown is not just Sierra Leone. For SLADA, we operate all over this country. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some villages you will go, people will tell you they've never seen condom. They don't know what is condom. And there are people going there. And there are locals going there. There are students going there. There are NGO workers going there. There are government workers going there. Having sex with these villagers, with these innocent people. Are they using condoms? Because if you meet the lady and you say that, like, what is this? If they, so they will leave you alone, they will laugh. Affordability. Some are selling, some are giving free of charge. But those that are giving free of charge, are they taking it to the interiors? Is this available everywhere, the interiors? What is the current national distribution of condoms? What are we doing with our partners? How are we distributing condoms and ensure that that village girl at the interior is accessing it? Free distribution is all over. Yes, it is all over. But is she accessing it? Is Mariama accessing it going down Kailam or Kamia, a village in Kamia? Is she accessing it? Will this free distribution that we have from all other entities, will they be here forever? We have the Global Fund supporting, of course, NAS giving free distribution, AHF and the rest, but will they are doing excellent work, but will they be here forever? Commercial sector, we have pharmacies and business entities selling. Social marketing, DKT, Pink Power and SLADA, but can they survive? That's the question. Now we've seen the importance of using condom. We are still going to be using it. We have so many free distribution. But can this free distribution continue? What about those that are selling? What about those that are using the dual principle, that is selling to provoke behavior change, sustainable behavior change, and utilization? That is the condom social marketing, and that is what we are doing. Social marketing of condom is the intervention in which condoms are developed, marketed with a promotional campaign, and sold to a specific population. We are having 4 of our P's, the normal social marketing P's, and marketing mix, we call it. We have the promotion. What have we been doing? What are we doing as a social marketing entity? Using these 4 P's. The promotion side, we use our branded products. With our branded products, we promote both generic messages for our young people, and specific messages. We have the other P, which is place. For the place, we consider accessibility, easy accessibility to all. We work with both retailers and wholesalers. The products want increased accessibility and availability of condom throughout. The next is our price. We don't give free of charge because we want you to get it every day. It is available. If you look at the thing for this year, it says wear condoms, wear masks, wear condoms. It's not singular. Wear condoms continually, wear masks. So it means we want you to be having it continually. It is available everywhere at all times. Now, SLADA's operational situation. With all this, what we are doing, we are reaching the hard-to-reach communities. With all this that we are doing, can SLADA be sustainable? Can SLADA be sustainable? What is our situation now? We are highly donor dependent. Compete highly with free distribution and other international SMEs because they are giving freely and we are selling at a subsidized cost. Very cheap. Can you just imagine 3 pieces of condom going for 1,000 euro, which cannot be a loaf of bread. 1,000 euro. Revenue saved since inception, since when SLADA was established in 2012, is below operational cost, considering our cost of goods sold, which is 18% as our target, which is very, very low. Our key funded projects will end in 2022. After that, what will happen to SLADA as the only national social marketing entity in Sierra Leone? Currently, unfortunately, you go around, you move around, you will not see any of our branded products, which is the Protecto Plus products. We went out of stock since July 2020. Why should SLADA be supported? It is the only national social marketing institution. Remember our local content policy. We operate in all 16 districts in Sierra Leone. We have a unique BCC approach, behavior change and financial gains. Behavior change and financial gains to enhance sustainability. Finally, how can SLADA be supported as a local entity? 1. MDAs and other agencies to patronize buying SLADA branded PVC for their staff and intervention. In the next 2 months, we'll be having condoms, by the way, Protecto Plus condom. We are looking for open doors for increased partnership with like-minded ministries, MOHS, the Ministry of Youth, Gender and Children's Affairs, Ministry of Education. MOHS to NAS to revitalize. MOHS to NAS to revitalize the condom and working group, which has been there but is off now. We wanted to revitalize it. Then finally, how can SLADA be supported? Okay, thank you very much. So we are still open doors for more support for your from other MDAs and institutions. Thank you very much.
Good morning all. Please permit me to stand on existing protocols to make this presentation. reduction of the organization, and key facts on teenage issues in Sierra Leone, youth and HIV, importance of promoting condom usage way forward. As the Secretariat, we all know, I'm working with the National Secretariat for the Reduction of Teenage Pregnancy. We know the issues around teenage pregnancy. So, because of those issues, the Secretariat was established in May 2014 to coordinate government efforts and monitor UN organization, partners, and key line ministries to reduce teenage pregnancy and child marriage. So the Secretariat is working with 6 line ministries. These 6 line ministries are the Ministry of Social Welfare, the Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Local Government, and Ministry of Education. And it's been surrounded around 6 pillars. So we have 6 pillars that we are working on. The first pillar is about policy and legal framework. We need to ensure we have the relevant policies and framework in place that we work towards to ensure we reduce teenage pregnancy. We have the second pillar that talks about the adolescent youth-friendly services. We need to ensure we have services that are accessible to our youth so that they will be able to reduce teenage pregnancy, change their behavior towards sex, and many other things. We also have the third pillar, which is about community ownership. As we all know, communities we are working with are very key in our program intervention, and when we want to change behavior and practice, we need to ensure we own the process. And therefore, that's the third pillar. We also have the pillar of coordination, monitoring, and evaluation. As teenage pregnancy is not a standalone program, and we should not work in isolation. So we work with other organizations to ensure we agree on mechanisms that will reduce teenage pregnancy. So for the key facts on teenage issues in Sierra Leone, the DHS reports 2019 key indicators clearly shows that 21% of teenagers have already started having children, so we can see that, and many other presentations that have been made, I don't want to go into it because of time. And 29% of young women and 28% of young men aged 15 to 24 have comprehensive knowledge of their sexual health. Teenagers in the lowest wealth communities are more likely to start a child-bearing compared with those in the highest wealth community. The DHS report also have that. So I want us to quickly move on to this, the youth and the HIV. As you've all listened from various speakers, they mentioned about the prevalence of HIV among youth. And from these statistics from the National Secretariat of HIV clearly states that 1.7% of the population are infected with HIV from the 2020 report, and prevalence is more among young people aged 15 to 24. So it's very critical that we start engaging young people, and I was thinking that we see more of young people in those rooms. So for subsequent celebration, we need to ensure we have more of young people because they are the key target groups. Then the next one, according to the DHS report 2019 also, mentioned that the use of condom is very low. We have different family planning commodities, but among those family planning commodities, condom is the least that is being used. And because of this, it's really a cause for concern that we all work together to ensure we increase this percentage so that we will be able to achieve our desired result. And from the analysis above, it's key that a day like this, we aim at scaling up intervention, especially in vulnerable districts. As somebody rightly said, there are some districts that haven't seen condom, and it's very key that it's accessible and available at all centers where people gather to have sex. So why do we want to promote the usage of condoms? As a secretariat, we are equally promoting the usage of condoms because of the following reasons. Our goal is to reduce adolescent fertility rates in Sierra Leone, and condom is effective against unwanted pregnancy, and not only against unwanted pregnancy, but STI, including HIV and AIDS. It also promotes healthy sexual relationships. Condoms are highly effective in promoting STI and reduce the risk of pregnancy, which greatly contributes to the prevention of HIV and adverse sexual and reproductive health issues, especially among our young people. However, from all of the discussion, we've seen that condom is more safer and more effective than other family planning communities. Because most of the family planning communities that we have, they only prevent unwanted pregnancy, but does not further prevent STIs. But condom prevents unwanted pregnancy and as well as STIs. So we need to really clearly take our time to talk about more of condom, especially for those who are afraid of using condom because of the myths and beliefs and some other things around the usage of condoms. So it's very key that we start, we continue the discussion. Discussions like this should not only stop there, we should go beyond this level. So way forward, what do we do? We want to promote coordination and collaboration between relevant actors, and also we want to ensure male engagement both at national and community level. For most of our programs we have only been engaging women and girls, and it's very critical that men and boys are being engaged so that the change their behavior and perception. Because as we all know, men form part of the decision making, especially on reproductive health issues. So it's very key that we engage them because their active commitment, we believe, can change behaviors and perception. We also need to ensure there is more advocacy for availability of condoms at AYCS across the country. This is Adolescent Young Friendly Center. We have Adolescent Young Friendly Centers across the country. We have adolescents and young people we access family planning communities, including condoms. Continuous engagement through regular discussion on teenage pregnancy, STIs, and family planning with special emphasis on the usage of condoms, because we believe condom is more effective. And also, we want to ensure there is resources and opportunity. We have all the brilliant ideas put together, but if we don't have the required resources to ensure we work towards achieving our goal, we will not be able to achieve it. So therefore, that's one way to be able to mobilize resources so that we'll be able to achieve our goal. So this is
Thank you very much, speakers, and I think we appreciate all the information you provided us. Now it's our time. We are now going to have the discussions, and we have ground rules because we seem to be a little bit late. Ground rules have the questions must be direct, short, brief. Their comments brief. We also have resources in this room that will be responding to either comments, questions, but also the response must be brief and directed to the issues that are raised, either on the comment or in the questions. Please, and I encourage all of us not to concur with, I concur with what Mr. X has said, though, if you have any ideas to add, please. If not, just, we understand we are also not experts. And the questions are all coming from this room, the comments are coming from this room. Our viewers, we just, participate to view, but we don't have that facility yet to engage them. But the next step we will do that. Questions, comments, etc. One at a time, put your hands up and then we will appoint.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This day is a very important day to us in the youth sector, and that's the very reason why we have played the extent of role that we have to ensure that we're all here today. The theme itself, safer with condom is sexy, I think gives us a very strong reaffirmation that we must all make these conversations a little bit more wholesome for young people. And I think it's very useful that we're all here today. From the various speakers, we all now know that young people are critical in this, especially boys and young men. Before I came here, I had the opportunity of laying hands on a study that was done by Sarah Poole, and it's dubbed 2021 Valentine's Special. A study that speaks about cheating and sexual encounters in Freetown. I'm not going to speak about the cheating issues, because a lot have been said about that when we heard from the UNAIDS. But I'm captivated with a very important part of the study that says that has this question that was part of the study that says, is your current relationship your first sexual relationship? And there's a lot of analysis by age. But what was glaring there is that out of the study in Freetown, 69% of all boys and girls between 18 and 24 years have made more than one sexual relationship. That was what the study said. But what was also very critical for me, and this is really the reason why I think a lot has to be really done in terms of really engaging again young people. And the other question that's very catchy is that they said, how old were you when you had your first sexual encounter? And by age categories, you will find out that the bigger portion is between 15 to 24 years. And that one deals with both sexes, male and female. But what is also very sensitive is that there is a chunk of percentage that also speaks to boys. Between the ages of 10 and 14, in Freetown, boys have said that they had had their first encounter more than girls within the same ages. So we now see the reason why there is a lot of real importance in us putting real engagements around boys and young men in really leading this process, and I've had that conversation across in almost all presentations. Finally, There's a critical issue about access that was raised by the CD of UNAIDS. I mean, and he emphasized the issue of access to condom. But I also believe very critically there's also issue about access to information. And especially friendly information to the sets of people that we're speaking about. And we're all committed to supporting NAS and the other partners in moving this beyond today. Because Valentine's Day is critical to us. Many young people may have their first encounter on a day like that, and it's important that we continue this engagement. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry. My name is Ngolo Kata. I am the Commissioner of the National Youth Commission.
Okay. I don't think there's a reaction to the basis of the answer. Any other questions? Yes. Your name?
Abdurrahman Sise, Director General NAS. For me, I just want to rekindle the statements that actually happened here, and to drive it towards like what we are doing within the response. The Honorable Deputy Minister did talk about something very, very critical, and for me, we really need to think around it. It is of our dialogue, meaning that one size does not fit all in HIV prevention. And he was even talking about targeted messages. So this is one key area. And also the UNAIDS did talk about condoms being around all the years, but we are still seeing rising cases of STI, teenage pregnancy, and HIV and AIDS. How can we turn back the hand of the clock to ensure that we begin to deliver? Those are some of the ideas, things that we really want within the response. To see we design programs in collaboration with our partners to respond to the issues raised. Thank you.
Your name and the institution you're representing, just for our audience.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Mara Mori, I'm the acting program manager of the National AIDS Control Program, Ministry of Health and Sanitation. For me, I thank you all for the presentations and for inviting me here today. And for me, I'm always concerned about the children, the adolescents, and the youth. And having condoms, I was listening to 19.1 today, and DDG was there. Somebody was saying, oh, we are meeting about HIV on February 14 and on December 1. Why do they not say anything after that? And I want to say that HIV. I want to say that HIV is still there. HIV has always been there. It's just that we have not been paying attention to HIV. And for us, I think we need to see how we can improve on the communication strategy for HIV. Children are growing up without HIV messages. Children are becoming adults without HIV messages. When we were small, there was FLE in school. When we were small, as a girl in St. Joseph Secondary, we had the FLE teacher have a video conference, and we could talk about these issues. We had FLE, we could talk about female health, condoms, and all of that. But what is happening now in the schools? We have to see how we can engage that part. What is happening now for children who are out of schools? We need to see how we can engage that part. We can't just sit down and say, oh, we are religious people. But if people inside the church say they pray better, pastor they give better than church. So what are they talking about religious? We have to make sure that it's being done properly. We have to make sure that we communicate to these children in the schools. Even if you say this child is only 9 years old, but you don't know what this child is doing when you're not there. You don't know what your young guy is doing after school. So we have to make sure that this particular communication goes out there. We may know, because maybe we are older now, we could get access to FND and all of these things. But what about the ones coming up now? So I think we need to see how we can improve on that. HIV is living with us. HIV is there. HIV has not gone anywhere. We need to make sure that we increase the awareness. We have to make sure that people know about safe sex. Because you see, people are always talking about this. People will have their captive ban. Oh, I don't go get married. But what about HIV? You know go get married, but what about protecting yourself from HIV? So we have to be aware of this. Mothers, a lot of mothers are not aware about this. So they can't teach their children about it. But I think we need to make sure that in schools and in public places, people are aware about safe sex. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry, just one question now, because we are caught up in time. One, and that's it. Sorry about it. So I don't know, Mr. Abubakar, you have a question.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. As my name, University of Sierra Leone. My comment is, all right. My question is, what will be the effort of HIV Secretariat towards ensuring that they track immigrants in our country, because our borders are very porous? We may combat those in our country in lessening the increase of HIV/AIDS. But if we don't track our borders, like how we used to have corona tests in our airports, at the end of the day, we will be able to tackle our own issue here. But those foreigners or other Syrians that have coming in and out of the country will still be of great impact of them being in the HIV/AIDS in our country among other STIs.
One more question, probably.
Yes.
Hello? I think for the press, we are happy that at 12 we can let you go. But we really want to continue the virus. So we appreciate. We just want the vote of thanks to be expressed to them, and at 12 o'clock, and that's it.
So sharp to talk to the press.
So can you allow the press to ask questions?
Okay, the press, if you want, at least you are pushing on to 12 o'clock. You want to ask a question?
Yeah.
So yes. Okay.
We didn't see you, sorry. Yes,
Who's going to ask?
Good morning. My name is Samuel Jerimo from Star Radio. I would please like to know, we've done a survey that shows 3% of women are using condom. How was the survey done? Was it done in the whole country, qualitatively, or a quantitative survey? And for the purpose of NAS, 1.7% are said to be infected, of which prevalence among young persons. However, we do have many other Syrians who are infected already, but the fear of confidentiality has been that of an utmost concern. What mechanism are you going to put in place? Hence, the role that change communication is concerned. Thank you.
There was somebody I wanted to give there. Let me refer to that later.
I don't know which study you are really talking about, for which you are presenting the data. But regarding the prevalence of 1.7 years, that was a prevalence documented in a recent demographic health survey. So what are we doing? It's like we've already started the process. And on Wednesday we had dialogue, community dialogue. And for some of the issues that came up, we have come up with some interventions to see how we actually reach out
And it's the same dialogue that we are having now. And whatever comes out of this dialogue, definitely all of us, it's not just us, it's all of us, because we all own the secretariat. We are going to work together to ensure that we deliver the key required result. And that is what I will actually say towards the issue that you have raised. But regarding the statistics, I don't know which study. If you tell me the reference of the study, the title of the study, then I can tell you whether it was national or whether it was just a small-scale study or operational study. Okay? And before I actually sit down, I think one key action point as head of the National Youth Secretariat is that we are going to kindly appeal to the Honorable Deputy Minister of Youth. We want to have a policy dialogue with your ministry in really bringing on board the ministry for us to fight this disease. We want to engage your beneficiaries, the youths, but let us have a dialogue together and to see how we integrate HIV/AIDS programs into some of the programs where the ministry is implementing, so that it will be a win-win situation. So next week I'll be knocking on your doors. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we will continue the dialogue. The press, all is yours. Abubakar, now 3 questions, and then we can request for responses.
Thank you very much. Mine has to do with the UN's country director's statement as opposed to, I'm Mariam Amakoponte. I'm the director of Happy Peace and Adolescence. So it has to do with the UN's country director's statement that he made with regards to the challenges youths are getting, or young people do get, in buying condoms from the pharmacies, and that of the presentation made by SLADA. I just want to know if they were here while he was making his statement. I mean, what could be done, or what are their plans in terms of getting like vending machines? I mean, so that young people would conveniently, get condoms, as opposed to going to stand over the counter to buy, when at times they would not feel comfortable. So, they would go without the condoms. Already with AHF and the National AIDS Control Program, I'm seeing condom dispensers around. I don't know what SLADA is planning in terms of getting vending machines for condoms. Thank you.
Program here, so we always think of that. Say during Valentine's Day, so we don't sister them with the school, they try for discharging themselves or engage themselves primarily in that business. But for now, they celebrate this international condom day that everybody for use condom when you have to do with the roundup.
If you are in a village and you tell somebody you gather a group of people, tell them when you are ready, go to them. When you are ready for doing just take the code of the real the communication is not well done and it's not properly passed. After time, if you go to that same village, you find out that there are lots of STIs, lots of unwanted pregnancies because they did not disseminate the communication well how to end this problem. And if you did not pass it well again, you go ahead and tell them. The next day you have to be Manilo, where you condom like a banana. Because the information is not well passed. So in as much as you want to promote condom,
Safe one show.
Okay, so necessary. It's enough way to it's one way. No, the light. Where's your? Actually, no, that was maximally what? I'm watching this now. Yes.
By leave of the chairman and members of the Fourth Estate, this is just a quick one. You are allowed to pre-record these deliberations and discussions, but please be advised that it could not be broadcast live. So the position of live broadcast has been rescinded.